Good afternoon. My name is Dan Sugar. I've just finished repping in MLS Academy U14 boys middle assignment with my good friend. You want to introduce yourself real quick? Adilson, and how do you say your last name? Inocencio, yes. He is Cape Verdean and lives currently south of Boston somewhere. Just finished a game between Boston Bolts FC and Metropolitan Oval, known as Met Oval for short. Very intense game, even though it was only U14. There was a lot of fight, there was a lot of emotion in it. And we're basically going to do a quick sort of analysis and go over our thoughts on that game and share that with you guys, the audience, to really give you guys a referee and assistant referee's point of view on what an MLS Academy game is like. I was the center, Adilson here was the AR2 by the parent side. So let's start with you. What are your first initial thoughts about the game and how it went?
Yeah, I think it was a good game. We managed it properly from beginning to the end, and it's what we expect from a referee.
So what I'll add to that is pretty much we had to issue 5 yellow cards through the match. 2 of them were for dissent, 3 of them were for what we call unsporting behavior. And really what they were reckless challenges. High foot. The first one I gave was actually for a high foot very close to the head. There was no contact with the head, but it was so close that I just wanted to nip that in the bud and make sure that nothing like that could happen, because it could lead to something serious down the road. Now, we had some issues with a player or 2 on one of the teams, I won't say who or anything, just chirping and mouthing off a lot. So I want to share some of our thoughts on managing dissent. So what are your thoughts on managing dissent?
I think at this age, you want to let them express their emotions, and then when you see it's getting out of hand, and then that's when you take control. I think at this age, it's normal for them to be like that. So yeah, let them express their emotions, and then when you see things getting out of control, then you
just drop the hammer on them.
Correct. Yeah.
And the way I sort of did that in this game was, this one player was kind of chirping and said, hey, you've been chirping for a while, stop it please. And then eventually it got to the point where he committed a foul. I call it against him. Pretty careless foul, no card or anything. He starts just screaming and really letting me know how much he disagreed with the call. And then I just took out the yellow card and said, hey, listen, you've been arguing and chirping this whole entire game. I'm not giving you this card for this little foul here, but for the whole entire game, you've been going and going and going. Boom, up with the yellow card.
I think the good thing about that particular player is when you show him the yellow card, the way that you approach him, and then you show kind of everybody in the stadium that you're happy with what he's been doing all game.
I'm not happy with what he's been doing.
And that was your moment to say, okay, here it is. And then even the coach realized that he was pretty much out of control and took him out of the game too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was
that was really good awareness by that coach.
And then everybody in the field too.
What's also interesting is literally 2 minutes later, I had a situation where I could have ended up sending him off for a second yellow, because he almost looked like he went down in the area really, really easily, kind of in a simulation kind of way. And I wanted to sort of call out that he did something wrong without just kicking him out of the game, because in my opinion, especially in the U14 level, a second yellow card then it would have just been too soon. It would have almost made it seem like I was just out to get that one player off the field. I really was not at all.
Yeah,
I know
you don't want to target one player specifically.
No, of course. Yeah. Now I know there have been situations in the program and semi-program where a player does get 2 quick yellow cards, seemingly one right after the other, and even if they're both legitimate, it still kind of looks odd. It's okay, why is this player suddenly off when just 5 minutes ago he did nothing and he was in perfectly good standing? But you do have to be careful, because you could end up losing control of the game if you just kick a player off for 2 yellows immediately. So the way I do think I managed that situation well, and I'll go over that in my game analysis later. Tell me, what are some of your goals with reffing down the road, and how did you first get into reffing from what you remember?
Yeah, I've been doing this for pretty much 13 years now. It's more influenced by friends who are already doing referees, and then kind of tell me, okay, this is a good thing to go since you like the game, and then if you want to be involved, since you're not playing another team, to get involved with the game, and then kind of spend some time by doing referee. And then it's an easy process to be certified, so it doesn't take. And then I think a good thing about refereeing is that you take the certification, and then you learn as you go, right? So this is what you
it's a lot of learning as you go.
I grew up playing soccer, but after adults, I didn't play any much, and then I think refereeing gave me another opportunity to stay
To stay with the game.
with the game too.
What was your playing career actually like? And,
No, it was just youth soccer, nothing major.
no adult, no semi-pro, nothing.
No.
So you realize that your future was more on the
Of
referee
course.
side. And that's pretty much mine. So I'm not a footballer, even though I'm actually going to try to get back into footballing as a player pretty soon, but recreational low-level leagues, because it's pretty much all I can really manage as far as playing is concerned. So I switched over to refereeing too. My goal, I'd love to do a pro game at some point. I think that would be an amazing thing, an amazing accomplishment, but I have to earn it. I'm a long, long way off. So what would you say your highest point of your refereeing career so far has been, and what would you say your lowest point has been?
Nah, I don't think I have a highs or lows. I think I'm just doing for fun, so I can be involved with the game. I don't have any particular goal.
It's also good to ref just for the fun of it,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, we're here to just serve the players and enjoy being on the field. Like we're not gonna get paid to play on a soccer field, so we're not gonna get paid to ref on one. What would you say should probably be worked on in terms of managing the parents and managing off the
Yeah, I
field?
think
'Cause
it was a
know there
little bit. Yeah,
something that came up.
I think it was a little bit of awareness of things that happen. No, we all have our different way of refereeing. I'm not gonna say your ways. So this is the thing. I'm always hesitant of giving someone feedback because they know what they need to do to manage their game. Right? It's just like driving. Like anyone have their own drive and style. So you don't go around and tell people how to drive. I think refereeing too. So I'm always hesitant about telling people or giving feedback because you know what you did in the game. So I'll have to go home and understand it, or even driving home understand. Okay, what was the good and bad things?
I mean, for my own feedback, I guess. I think I did manage it pretty well, but I'll have to again look at that video. The big thing to keep note of though is even when you make a right call, players will argue against it just because they are emotional beings. They have feelings, and they don't like the sense of adversity against them and a referee making calls against them. And you do try to keep the calls balanced, and you try to keep the cards balanced too. And the cards actually were pretty balanced for most. Obviously, I ended up having 5, so one team had one more than the other, 5 total. But in terms of number of fouls, you can't really control when one team just fouls and fouls. You call what you see, right? So if one team is committing 5 fouls in a game, or 8 fouls, 10 even, you call those. If the other team's only committing maybe 2 fouls, those are the ones you call.
Correct.
It's hard, and it kind of puts you in a tough position because it almost looks like you are making more calls against one versus the other, but not really. As long as your foul selection is consistent, and as long as the same foul is being called both ways, you should be considered in a good standing out.
Right.
And just the same thing with situations that you rule as not a foul, because there were a lot of situations in that game that popped up here and there that could have been a foul maybe, or borderline, but I ruled not. So you don't want to have it be, hey, that's a foul one way, but then not the other way, because then that's where you become inconsistent.
And then everyone sees it. Yep.
Everyone sees it. Yeah.
Good to mention too, this was an unusual emotional game. So we don't tend to see a lot of this
for
games,
for U14.
Parents
you
going back and forth, and even players respond to parents. So we don't tend to see this on this game.
And MLS Academy, the parents tend to actually usually be better behaved.
Correct.
Usually in the higher levels, you hear less and less from the parents.
Exactly.
And it's actually at the lower levels where you hear more and more.
Yes, because they're all trying to protect their kids from from collision and stuff. And
the MLS Next is supposed to be a really sterile, protected environment.
Correct.
Didn't quite feel that way today, but it was a good test of us because, like I've said, anyone can referee, but not anyone can manage. And what separates the highest level referees from lower level ones is the ability to actually manage players' emotions and teams' emotions. Now, you don't really referee the parents, but how you ref can affect how the parents respond to it.
Great.
Always looking to improve things, and it'll be interesting later tonight going to a 4 o'clock U16 game, and then I think it's U17, and then a 6 o'clock U19 game.
Easy guy today.
AR for both of those, and then tomorrow I won't have games in the afternoon, but all 3 of them are 90-minute think trying to remember off the top of my head, but I think the first one's the middle, then 2 others online, but it might be the other way around. I would have to look just to make sure, but it's a lot of games.
Yes.
A lot of games. This guy here, how many games do you do? Tell him.
No more this weekend. I'm all set.
Yeah, that was his only game for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nice sometimes. Like,
Unusual too. Normally you get more than one, but no.
So did you put your availability in? Or?
Yes, everything. It was just.
So your availability was in. You were there on like.
Yeah.
But they just didn't assign you.
I'll take it. I'll take one.
Yeah?
I'll take one.
But we were gonna have a second game, which would have actually been going on right now. It was gonna be U13 game, but unfortunately it was canceled due to public health reasons. You can probably figure out why. I'm not gonna say any more about it though, but you can probably figure out why. What did you think of like the fitness level that the three of us had, and what the players had?
I think you did good. It was actually a very intense game.
Yeah, I would say the work rate from everyone was really high.
Yeah, that was, and it was hot too. So it was the first, hot game of the season. So that's tend to influence a lot, right? So this,
that influences energy levels huge.
Yep. So
in terms of nutrition for that, you just have to really make sure you're hydrated.
Yep.
But the key is, everyone, not just water, but also electrolyte fluids. Now, the official sponsor for electrolyte fluids for U.S. soccer is Powerade, but I believe MLS actually uses Gatorade brand. Unless you're sponsored, unless you're doing sponsored things, you can drink whatever electrolyte you want. Powerade, Gatorade, anything else that's out there, probably doesn't really matter.
As long as you stay hydrated.
Yeah, so as long as you are hydrated, and the key is to not solely drink water, because if you drink too much water without electrolyte, you can actually become overhydrated and cause some pretty significant problems. And you also lose the energy that you'll need as well, because the electrolytes actually help with neuromuscular function and the firing and activation of your muscles, and that's huge for your movements and your overall communication between your muscles and your nervous system and your brain, which runs the whole show. Now keep in mind, I'm not a nutritionist, but I'm just a referee with a lot of experience as an athlete and an official. Always do your own research, always listen to the professionals, the experts who have the doctoral degrees. They know far more than I do. One thing I do want to talk about is the whole balance of long-term happiness versus short-term fun. So,
Sure.
Yes, this is something I think about a lot. So, in a few weeks, in the middle of July, I am supposed to obviously go to my brother's wedding, and it's not just a wedding night, it's also a rehearsal dinner the night before, on Friday night, then the wedding night with the reception on Saturday night, and then a brunch sort of on Sunday morning. Probably not going to be able to do any games, but that's okay for that weekend. There's probably not a lot of games, I wouldn't imagine, but the big thing is it would be really tempting to sort of just, I guess, be irresponsible, for lack of a better word, be tempting to just drink whatever you want and however much you want and eat however much and all that stuff. But you don't want to lose sight of the long-term ambitions that you have. So for me, that's officiating at the highest level versus, using the wedding reception as an excuse to not take care of my body. Like, I don't want it to be this thing where, hey, my brother just got married, let's chug whatever. I'm absolutely not going to do that, because I take a lot of pride in my body and my health, and I know that the players and teams want a referee who's going to be fit and who takes care of himself to be doing their game. So how do you personally balance it? Because you do have to be human at some point, so you can't just be all focused all the time on that long-term goal. You do have to sometimes let loose and let yourself just be a person. I think, but you have to do it sparingly.
Correct.
The night before a game or the day that you just finished the game is probably not a good idea.
You have to know that you're dedicated for the game. It's a service that you're doing it, and you have to do an excellent service.
But just get yourself,
because things like drinking and
eating unhealthy foods, and
that's gonna catch up.
It's gonna catch up very quickly, especially as you get older too. Yeah. Like, I'm 28, and how old are you again?
31.
31. So we're not like in our early 20s or late teens.
Yeah.
Nutrition actually becomes a lot more important as you get older. That's about it. I'm gonna go a little.
Thank you, Dad, for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for
I think you'll see
joining this.
in
and,
2 weeks or something, right?
might be next week. Next week at Gillette Stadium. You'll see a nice game vlog
Oh,
about
that will
that.
be a good game, huh?
Yeah. Is it 3 games? Or?
The 2 games, Revolution against the New York City FC.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so that'll be a good
Oh
game.
man, can't wait. Do you remember what age groups they are off the top?
13, I think 14 and 15.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Well, we'll catch you later, and I hope you have a great weekend and a lot of success in all your games and everything else you do. Cheers.